All right, so a while ago, I did a review of, Clone Wars comparison video of Layton, Parfums De Marly Layton clones. Um, it's been a while since then. I have acquired even more Parfums De Marly clones, so I thought it would be good to do a follow up. Now, Layton, for those of you who are familiar with the channel, you already know, Layton is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. I think it's super versatile. I think it's very mass appealing. I love vanilla, cardamom. I love the scent profile, the spicy orientals. I love those types of fragrances, and Layton is just done so well. I think it's sexy, it's seductive, masculine. It's a very masculine, wearable vanilla fragrance, and I really enjoy it. I really do. It's one of my favorite. So anyway, naturally, for this video and for my own interest, not for this video, but for this channel and my own interest, I have pretty much acquired over time just about every house clone there is of Layton. The only one I don't have anymore is Dapper's. It wasn't because it was bad. Actually, I thought Dapper's Layton was probably one of the best clones they've had from their house, that and Pacific Rock Moss. It got to a point where it was getting a little out of hand. I don't need, so many clones of one fragrance. Anyway, figured before I maybe start offloading these and for, your all benefit, hopefully, I was going to just go through another review of these, another Clone Wars, as best as I can. I've had a lot more opportunity to wear these clones than I did in the first video, and I've acquired several other clones. So I think this will be hopefully beneficial for anybody who's interested in Layton, who enjoys Layton like I do, and is looking for the alternatives to Layton itself. So I'm just going to run down right now the clones that I will be talking about in this video first, and then we'll go through them one by one. First one is Dua's, House Dua Fragrances, Royal Cherry Tartar. The second one is from the House of Genre Parfums, and that is Refuge. The third one is by the House of Alexandria Fragrances, Royal Equestrian. And I have this is still old. I have actually 3 bottles of Royal Equestrian. This is one of the older bottles, but this is even older than that bottle. I also have a newer bottle that I keep at work. Then I have Montage, Vanilla Fresh, from the House of Squirts, which a lot of you probably have not heard about. Layton, they don't have names for theirs other than what it's inspired by. And like I said, I had Dapper. I don't anymore. And lastly, I take that back. There's actually 2. Forgot. Man, that was one of the reasons I did this video. I was going to do this video. So anyway, I have one from the House of Monarch. This is Heat of the Moment. It's come in giant 100 milliliter bottles. And the last one, and actually a big reason I was going to do this video, and I somehow just completely spaced, is Essential Obsessions clone. I believe it's called Royal Obsession. It's their new one. New formulation of Layton. And so I don't want to leave that one out. I'll speak on that without going and actually grabbing it. But anyway, and of course, no Clone Wars comparison would really be as complete without the original Parfums De Marly Layton. This is a newer batch. It's a 2019, I believe. Batch of Layton. Okay, so anyway, where to start? I guess I'll start with the lesser known houses first. So the House of Squirts, as I said before, they have not very well known. They come in these same generic decant bottles that Dua used to, Alexandria used to, King Fragrances uses. There's a bunch. Sammy Andras uses. A ton of houses use bottles because they're cheap by comparison to a lot of other ones. See, the juice is pretty clear. Actually, what's weird about these, okay, is there's kind of sediment at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, probably not. But as it settles, see if I can see that brown, the bottom there. It's weird. It kind of just gets this weird, nasty kind of brown color at the bottom. Something separating. Now, if you mix it, you can actually see it. Well, you can't see it, but I can see it. Mix in there, and it's no longer on the bottom. So anyway, it mixes in fine. What it is, I don't know, but that doesn't really matter. So, how is this as a cologne? This ran me at the time, and I got this back before they got bigger. I think I paid $16 for this. Now these are upwards of $30, $29.99 for a bottle of this. Crappy sprayer, real shitty atomizer. So you get a blast of alcohol in the opening. It is less concentrated than a lot of the other alcohols I'm going to be speaking to. It's clear by the opening. It's very alcohol forward, but it does smell like Layton. Okay, it does have the methylated opening that a lot of the clones some of the clones don't have. This does have that. As it dries down, it becomes very close to Layton. It's not the best cologne out of these. But it does resemble Layton. It does a pretty good job actually for the money. Well, originally. Now I think there's better offerings because performance on this sucks. So the scent's good. The problem is it's so diluted. They're cutting a lot more perfumer's alcohol in these than the other offerings. So it only lasts a couple of hours. Okay, it'll project pretty well in the first couple of hours though because of how much alcohol is in it. So those people who aren't aware, the higher alcohol concentration, generally, without diluting it too much, generally it makes it project better. Now, longevity suffers. So a higher oil concentration is going to bring it closer to the skin, slightly closer to the skin. It's not going to project out as far, but it lasts a lot longer on the skin and on the clothing. So that's that. This projects good. You get projection about 2 hours. Fortunately, you're lucky if you get 5 out of this total. I'd say close to 4. So not a crazy performer. For $30, there's definitely better offerings. Next up, Montage Vanilla Fresh. Just come in 50 mils. You can see the color. It looks pretty, whatever carrier oil they're using, looks like it's pretty high concentration. Now, before I spray this, there are 2 different versions of this. This is an older batch from 7/2/2019. They have since reformulated this to supposedly be closer to a 1-to-1 batch. Fortunately, I don't have that. I've never smelled that, so I can only comment on the older version. Again, has the methylated opening, similar to squirts. You don't have that alcohol opening. You can tell this is a higher concentration of oil. You can tell that this is a better blend than squirts. This is going to run you, I believe these are about $35-$40 for 50 mil. Not bad for the size you get. Again, this is an older offering. This is not the closest smelling to Layton that I've smelled, but it's not bad. Smells pretty good. You get a 50 mil bottle, but again, the newer formulation is supposed to be even better. It does resemble Layton though. I mean, the general notes are there. It just doesn't smell as close as some of the other ones. But it's good. It is good. Just, again, not my favorite. It's better than squirts. Okay, so far it'd be squirts and Montage of the ones we've reviewed or I've gone over. Next one is Monarch Heat of the Moment. So these come in giant 100 ml decant bottles. They also list the notes on the back. So anybody who's interested in the notes of Layton, they list the notes, which is kind of cool as well. Monarch is also a lesser known house. I kind of like the bottles. Again, they're generic decant bottles, but it's kind of cool. They also come in giant 3.3 ounce or 3.3 ounce size bottles, which is cool as well. This cost me 60. About two was 120 shipped. So it came down to 60 with a coupon for this, for 100 mil. Can't beat that price. This is the cheapest by far of all the offerings, just from a price point per milliliter. Now, if you can see the bottle, you can notice it's slightly more diluted looking. Now, other stuff plays into this. Type of oil they use as a carrier plays into it as well. But then the Montage. This smells very close. So the methylated opening in the Monarch is dialed down. Honestly, this resembles kind of, to me, more along the lines of, we'll get into a later, Royal Cherry to Tar. It's kind of a heavier scent profile, not as bright in the opening, and the methylated opening note kind of is dialed back. Now, the longevity on this, again, you're getting 100 mils, but it's pretty diluted, and you can tell. I'd say 5 hours you're getting on that. For anybody that's familiar with Layton, Layton is not a slouch. It's a performer. So getting 5 or 6 hours out of this, max. Okay? Not bad, and it's not a crazy projection monster either. It's not bad. You'll get a couple hours of projection, then it dies down to a skin set for a couple of hours. For the money, for the size, definitely not a bad pickup. Vanilla phrase from Montage or Montang hangs around longer. So from just purely the juice, not looking at the price point, I think Montang I would rank higher than Monarch, and Squirts would be behind Monarch. Next up is Refuge from Genre Parfums. There's a billion things I could say about this presentation. I could go into each house. I'm not going to do that now. This is the old ones. People who are familiar with genre, these are the old atomizers. They suck. The new ones are great, but you get little sprints, you know. So they do suck. Very heavy methylated opening in the beginning. Really, that's mainly what you get. Heaviest of all of these. That initial spray is very, very methylated. It's not as sweet as Layton is. Some people might like that. It's got a medicinal vibe to it. Again, you hear a lot of people call it Vicks Vapor Rub. I don't get that, but I do get what they're getting at. Vicks certainly has that menthol smell. This is there as well. This is, to me, too much. I know a lot of people are a fan of Refuge. I think it is good in its own, but I do think there are better clones. Quite frankly, I would rank Montang and Monarch above this. This would be above Scorch just because performance is a lot better on this. Still not crazy though. 5-6 hours is what I get on it. So genres, not unfortunately with this interpretation. Love the bottle. Or presentation wise, this is the best by far. I think I'd have probably all these, but scent wise, I think it misses the mark. As it dries down, some of that methylated is going to go away, and it is going to resemble Layton more. It is less sweet than Layton. Some people might enjoy that. Some people might like that. But part of what makes, I think, Layton such a mass appealing fragrance and so seductive is the sweetness that's there. And it's not sweet to where it's overbearing, but it still is sweet. So I was making sure I didn't spread this in the before video. The next one is Royal Cherry Tar. This one's super popular, and to be honest with you, I fan of it as well. I mean, I got 4 bottles of it, not including the one at work that I wear. So yeah, it's safe to say I am a fan of it. But like what I said earlier, this kind of has a heavier, and I think the reason it does, I don't know so much that it's the oil they use. I think it's because it isn't a tar. So the tars run about 50%, or maybe slightly higher, depending on the interpretation they use, oil concentration. So this is heavier. Don't get me wrong, it performs well, projects well. but it smells denser. It smells deeper. Not as fresh. Not that Layton's a fresh fragrance, but not as just kind of aromatic, I guess. It smells good. It definitely is more heavier. Think along the lines people who've tried normal Casino Elixir and dark Casino Elixir. How that is compared to dark is compared to normal Casino Elixir. It's not as sweet. It's darker, heavier kind of smelling, more kind of like woody-ish kind of vibe to it. It's kind of what I'm getting with this, similar to the real Layton. It is very close. It smells good, but there's just something there that misses the mark for me, okay, to make it perfect. But performance on this is crazy. So Layton, again, is no slouch. As an Attar, you're getting insane performance out of this. Honestly, more than 2-3 sprays, that's all you need. You do more than that, you'll be choking people out. I do love that for that reason. And this is always, I think, going to be one of my favorite of the clones. Of the ones I've mentioned so far, this is my favorite. Okay, considering everything. Projection, longevity, scent profile, price point, all that. Now, next up is from the House of Alexandria Fragrances, Royal Equestrian. Again, I got an old and an even older bottle. Although the new bottle smells like this one. I will say there is a difference between this bottle and this one. What I noticed is this smells, the older bottle, smells closer to some of these other interpretations, in the sense that I don't feel like the older bottle is as well blended. I don't know if it's changed the formulation up. It also has a much heavier menthol opening, a very noticeable menthol opening, just like Refuge. This one is very noticeable. It kind of comes off as medicinal. I do really enjoy it, though. The dry down on the original is still really good. And then there's a newer one. Still very prominent in this. The menthol is not going anywhere. It is there. Royal Equestrian is one of the strongest openings with that menthol. If you don't like menthol, you don't like the methylated vibe Layton has, do not get Royal Equestrian. Do not get Refuge. But if you do like that, or you're okay with, getting past that for the dry down, to me, this is the best out of all of these clones. It just smells so good. Especially the dry down. Performance is no slouch, and I'm a fan of the methylated opening, so to me that's not a problem. But performance on this is great. I get a full work day out of it, easy. I'm talking 8 hours. I'm still smelling. I really enjoy this. I really do. For a while, I thought I preferred the Royal Cherry Attar from Do It, to be honest with you. I was kind of going back and forth between that and Royal Equestrian. But the more I wore the two, I started to really be able to distinguish the differences and kind of started to notice that Do It missed the mark slightly. And again, I think not in a bad way. It just isn't as close to the original, in the sense that, again, it's denser, thicker, and smells slightly darker. I think the reason for that is probably mainly the high oil concentration. Don't get me wrong, Alexandria is no slouch. This thing performs and is high oil, but with the Attar, it changes that profile. Something Do has been doing recently, and you can see it with the Ottoman Breeze, which is their Hashavat clone Attar, and the Casino Elixir is they're just amping up the alcohol, or not the alcohol, the oil percentage, concentration, to 50% plus calling on Attar. And they put amped up, da-da-da. It's amped up because the oil concentration is higher, so those notes smell more prominent. The fragrance is stronger. People are getting it, like, oh, it's not a different fragrance. It's the same fragrance, just a higher oil concentration. So yes, it smells different. It smells stronger. Much the same as this. It smells darker, kind of changes the profile because it's heavier concentration. Anyway, it's my rant on that. We got the original here. Something I noticed, smelling all of these, especially now doing it. The menthol in the newer version of Layton. Okay. The old ones were a little different. The old ones had, at least the one I had, the older one I had, the menthol note was more prominent, more forward. The newer versions of Layton, it is more subtle. And it smells very well blended. When I say that, you don't, if, really most of these colognes, I think if you were passing somebody who had it on, you would immediately think in your head, that's Layton. Without a doubt. Undeniable. Especially when it gets to the dry down. But when you smell them directly, side by side, there's no replacing the original. Okay? So, take that for what you will. You can also get the original pretty cheap. I believe 125, 150 through people online, legit sites. And this is a 4.2 ounce bottle. So when you break down the price per milliliter, you're not saving a whole lot on these clones. You're really not. And again, whereas clones are normally a better buy because they last longer, this does not have a performance problem. So I'm kind of asking myself here now that I have, got Layton and, full size of the original, why I bought all these, to be honest. Because again, there's just something special about the original. The something is they're all natural notes, and the ingredients are high quality, and it's not aroma chemicals, and it's not mixed oils. That's the difference. But there's still that draw, and I get it. That's why Dua is around. Some Duas are more expensive than the original when you break down price per mil. Some are equally as expensive. But you don't have to buy a full-size bottle. So whereas you'd be out $125, $150 buying this, you can get yourself a bottle of Royal Cherry Tartar, 30 mil, for after 30% off, about $45. You get yourself a bottle of Royal Equestrian after Alexandria 15, about the same, maybe a little cheaper, 30 mil. So you don't have to commit to a full-size bottle. So I get that. I do. But as I said, I get it. Clearly I'm a huge fan of cologne houses. I get why people buy colognes. I get the draw of having a smaller amount, the ease. And some fragrances, the originals are just too expensive. But and someone, they're too expensive to where you are saving a lot of money by buying the clone interpretation, even price per mil. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. You're not really, with this one, if you want a large size and it is a good fragrance you really enjoy like mine, there's no reason really not to get the real thing with Layton. It'd be different if performance was an issue, or if it was exponentially, overpriced or more expensive than these. Anyway, that's that. So the last one I had to review is Royal Obsession by Sensual Obsessions. That smells, and this is a new formulation, I haven't smelled the old ones. It smells really good. Really good. I still think, all in, this is my favorite out of all of the clones I've tried of Layton. I think it comes closest to the original. I think it's the best blended. And I think it smells more in line ingredient wise to the quality that you get out of the original. It's not the same though. That said, I do think Sensual Obsessions is a close runner-up. I would put Sensual Obsessions and Dua on the same category. And the reason, so I would have Alexandria first, then Dua, and Sensual Obsessions, new one, right by each other. And here's why. I think Sensual Obsession's scent profile smells better than Royal Cherry Tar. Not by much. It smells good. I think it's closer to the original though. Again, this changes the scent profile because of how much concentration there is, how much oil is in that. It changes how it smells. So, Royal Obsession to me smells more like the real thing. It smells good. It's very well done. This, however, lasts way longer because it's an attar. So it's kind of a toss-up. Scent-wise, if I'm going purely based on scent, it's going to be Alexandria, then Royal Obsession, then Dua, then the rest will follow suit. I would go through that. I think then Dua, then the House of Montage, then Monarch, then Refuge, and then the House of Squirts. Purely based on scent. So that's that. Now, the other thing is, you might, and I would suggest Sensual Suggestions is number one if you don't like that heavy menthol opening. Because while it's there, while the methylated opening is there in the Sensual Obsessions, it's not as prominent as Royal Equestrian. It's actually, quite frankly, a lot more linear than some of these other ones, but in a way that's actually good. I think it's really well done. So if you're someone who doesn't like that, I would recommend that. If you do like the mentholated opening, I'd recommend Royal Equestrian. Or if it's something where you don't kind of indifferent about it, you don't mind it, still recommend Royal Equestrian. But if you're someone who doesn't like that, Sensual Obsessions, and then Dua is a good backup as well. The rest I wouldn't bother with. Again, you got 3 great options. The rest are pretty forgettable. So that's that. It's all based on what's important to you. If performance is the biggest thing for you and you want something that's going to last you 12 hours, get Royal Equestrian or Royal Cherry Tar. Or if you like that thicker, richer scent profile, heavier, kind of denser scent profile, this has got that. But if you want something closest to Layton, in my opinion, is Royal Equestrian. Again, the opening is a lot different than newer batches of Layton in the sense that it is toned down in the newer batches. The older batches, Royal Equestrian is very close to because it was more prominent and much more prominent. So that's that. Hopefully this was helpful. It's really just, again, I guess at the end of the day, what I'm saying is when you're deciding what you want in a cologne, I think prior to going out and buying any cologne, sit down and figure out what do you want out of it. Why are you buying the cologne? Because you just want a smaller amount of it. You don't want to commit to the giant bottle. Is it longevity? Is that what you want? This doesn't matter. Again, like if it's Elysium or something like that where it performs like bad, I get that 100%. I wouldn't buy the real thing either. It's not worth it. There's colognes that perform way better than Elysium. So anyway, again, hopefully this was helpful. Now that this is over, I honestly am probably going to sell through most of these clones. I will always keep a couple bottles, probably 2 of the bottles of Royal Cherry Tar and my Royal Equestrians and Sensual Obsession, but I think I will get rid of the Monarch and the Montage and the Genre and the Squirts. There's no reason to have all of them. Quite honestly, they don't get that much wearing anymore anyway because I have these better clones and the real deal. So anyway, again, sorry this was long. Hopefully it was helpful.